have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint.
Please bow your heads with me for prayer. Lord, our protector and shield, we come before you this morning truly blessed. We are blessed to live in this country. We are blessed to be a part of this school. We have been given so much. We remember this morning the sacrifice and the price that has been paid over the years for us to enjoy these blessings. We remember those who have served our country and given their lives in the service of our freedom. Renew a spirit of humble gratitude within us today. Help us to live lives that honor the memories of those who have given so much for us. Please pray aloud with me the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Please join me in reciting the United States Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, please join me in reciting the Milton Hershey School Pledge. I will keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. I will keep my standards high and help others to do likewise. In my relations with others, I will live by the golden rule and will speak the truth at all times. I pledge myself to honor and to do all I can for the good of my school, my country, and my God. You may be seated.
Good morning, everybody. So I know many of you, I've seen many of you, and there are many more that I have not seen. My name is Kimberly Ellenberg, and I am one of your sisters. I graduated from here in 1988, a long, long, long time ago. But it's my honor and pleasure to be back here, and I enjoy coming back every time I have the chance to do that. I recently retired from the military, where I served about 27 and a half years. And when I did so, there were some things that I wanted to learn or share with you. So, esteemed faculty who are critically important, and staff to helping make the experience positive for us here as children, beloved brothers and sisters, and distinguished guests, greetings. We have met to honor and remember the men and women who have sacrificed their lives serving our country for many years. This is one of President Gert's most important ceremonies. Many have sacrificed their lives, including among them the 57 Milton Hershey School alum. There are many more than that who have served, and many more of you hopefully will serve as well. I approach this opportunity with great gratitude and humility. I share something in common with many of the folks who came before us, but there's a lot I don't share in common. Mr. Foley, who stands back here, is fond to remind all of us as alumni how during a period of time in the school, when you turned 18, even if you were still in school, when it was time to go and fight and defend the country, you went at age 18. And that's how we ended up with so many Gold Star family members. I want to speak to you for a second about one of the most special things that we value in our education and here. While we come here and we learn how to speak, we learn how to think, we contemplate all the social, we contemplate the science, the natural, we look at literature, we learn poetry, we make art, we play sports, we do math, we philosophize, we do a lot of good things. And in this source of education, through our common quest to discover the truth, one of the things that we find here at Milton Hershey School are unbreakable bonds. When I tell you I am your sister, I truly mean it. And if anyone needs anything anytime, they can call me, they can email me, and I will be there along with your other alumni brothers and sisters. But there's one thing that I found when I left the school and I joined the military and I decided to serve, and that is pursuing truth and freedom. I am going to encourage all of you as you reflect today on the sacrifices that people make in order for us to be free, to study and learn all of these things in a safe environment with a roof over our head and food on our tables. That you can find those same unbreakable bonds when you join the military, when you serve our country. And if the military is not for you, then I ask you to consider volunteering after you leave the school, and always in continuing to volunteer to make our country a better place. For it is here, in that space of service, in that space of volunteerism, that we form firm bonds of loyalty and friendship that exist between people who are so dedicated to the pursuit of principles and values that make our country a great place. And so with that, I want to remember all of those who have served. I want to remember those who have given the ultimate sacrifice and thank them very much. To that end, one of the things we did at my retirement ceremony was we flew an American flag over the Pentagon, which is where I was working at the time that I retired. And I presented that to the school. Today, among us, we have a student, Nevaeh, who is currently a private in the Army National Guard and serving here. For the seniors, I think you remember the push-up contest that we had, right? All right, you should be very proud of her service, her willingness to volunteer, and to make the ultimate sacrifice. And I don't know if you've ever thought of it quite in that manner, but it's pretty deep, isn't it? It is. Hopefully that never comes, because through that bond of loyalty, right, we will always have each other's back. So it's to you, I would like to present this flag in honor of the school so that each Memorial Day, the school will always have this, to remember our students who have the courage that you have and the courage that those that came before us have had. Okay.
With reverence and respect, the Senior Division New Horizons and the Select Wind Ensemble.
Spacious skies forever.
That was amazing. It was magnificent. It was beautiful. Thank you to yourselves, and thank you to the New Horizon members who sacrificed. I think you didn't even have sheet music to study off of before you prepared your song. I mean, you guys are amazing. So thank you very, very much. All right, it is my great pleasure to introduce somebody we call SEAC. That sounds kind of funny, doesn't it? But what that stands for is Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So, folks, for you who don't know, right, you have the President of the United States, right? And one of the big roles of the Department of Defense is to help prevent our country from going to war. That might sound silly, right? A lot of people think you go to war so you can fight. But one of the big roles of the Department of Defense is to deter war. It's one of our diplomatic tools. And one of the other roles is, if we do have to fight, it is to dominate. Two people advise the president. It's the Secretary of the Department of Defense, and that person is a civilian, right? Because we don't want to have a coup in our country. We don't want the military to take over, right? And the other person is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Chairman Milley. And his senior, most important enlisted advisor, the highest ranking person in the military, is a man we call the Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, SEAC. And that is the man that came here, traveled up today to talk specifically to you and you and you and all of you. So SEAC Ramon Zizi Colon Lopez is the fourth Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And like I said, he is the most senior enlisted person by position in the United States Armed Forces. He enlisted in the United States Air Force in 1990, and that's why the color of his uniform is blue, and Nevaeh's would be green, because she's the Army. He held assignments in U.S. Air Force's Europe, Air Combat Command, Air Force Special Operations Command, Air Education and Training Command, Pacific Air Forces, Joint Special Operations Command, Air Force's Central Command. He has deployed numerous times in support of Operation Southern Watch, Northern Watch, Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom, New Dawn, Resolute Support, Inherent Resolve, and several other classified locations. And prior to assuming his current position, he was the command senior enlisted leader for the United States Africa Command. So all around the world, we have what are called combatant commands, and that helps us have eyes and keeps the world stable so that we have peace. That's our job. He has had many major awards and decorations, including the Defense Superior Service Medal with the Oak Leaf Cluster, Legion of Merit, Bronze Star medals. You can see on his shirt, you'll see a big rack with all different color ribbons, and that tells his story, and it tells you about where he's been and what he has done. And if he was serving much longer, I think he'd have to start putting them down his sleeve, okay? He's worked really, really hard, and he's done a lot. And he has also had many friends who have made the ultimate sacrifice. And he's the man that came here today to speak to you. And so with no further ado, I welcome my good friend, SEAC.
Well, good morning, Milton Hershey. How are you guys doing? Doing good? Here's the good news. This is my speech, all right? So we're not going to belabor the point, but I was asked to come here to speak specifically about the importance of Memorial Day and how often Americans get Memorial Day confused with barbecues and leisure time and signifying the first days of summer. But before I do that, something caught my eye this morning. As I was coming into this great building, I saw a quote from your founder. And even though the school was founded in 1909, there was a quote from Mr. Hershey in 1924. And he said that he created this place, and I quote, to give as many as possible real homes, real comforts, education, and training. And the reason I say that is because every veteran, to including one of our newest veterans in Nivea, is willing to give you something else, and that is freedom. And freedom is a generational commitment for all of us. As I'm looking at you right now, your young faces, there are some of you that are potentially going to answer that call. As I look at the ones that are about to graduate here pretty soon, I potentially see professionals. I may even see the next president of the United States sitting in this crowd because of the opportunities that this country gives you every day to be a better person and to become a better version of yourself. So Memorial Day is often confused with Veterans Day and Armed Forces Day. Now, the latter two are the time to go ahead and thank veterans for what they do, the living veterans. One is for everybody that has served, the other one for the ones that have served in combat. But Memorial Day is different. And Memorial Day goes all the way back to the Confederate War, to the Civil War of the United States of America. And it was on May 30th of 1868 that the nation started celebrating this day as Decoration Day, to remember the fallen from the Civil War. And then as time went on, it just became a special day to commemorate all of the veterans for all the other future wars, which is about 1.4 million Americans have given their life for the support and defense of the Constitution of the United States. Because we're the only nation that actually swears an oath to protect the document, not to protect the president, not to protect a certain political party, but a document and an idea that every single one of us is created equal and that we should have the same opportunities to do whatever we put our heart and soul into to become better. And I always carry this book with me because it means the world to me. Because it is based on this book, the Constitution of the United States, that I swore that I will give my life so that you can have a better future. Now, millions of people have paid the ultimate sacrifice. And why do they do that? Why do we actually take an oath to go to war? The answer is pretty simple. We fight not because we hate what's in front of us. We fight because we love what we leave behind. And that is every single one of you. This is the time now to reflect on all of those young men and women that actually stepped forward to answer the nation's call. And the reason they did that is because for many generations before us, someone has done the same for them. And every generation looks for a way to pay it back. Now, military service is not for everyone, and about 3/4 of the nation is unqualified for service. But for those few that are qualified to serve, there's no greater call than to answer our nation's call. As you think about Memorial Day from now on, I just ask one thing of you. I want you to count your blessings. I want you to start looking at the things that you have right now. And even at our worst moment as Americans, I guarantee you that there's billions of others that have it worse than us because they don't have the freedoms that we enjoy every day. So from this moment forward, when you think of Memorial Day, think of the 1.3 million people that have given their lives and the ones that are now on deck, like Nivea, to go ahead and take care of the fight of the future. Now, my time is coming to an end. By the time it's all done, it's going to be 33 years of service. And in November, I have to depart the ranks. In essence, I'm no better than a carton of milk that is sitting on the shelf too long. But we have new people coming behind us to be able to do that. The general answered the nation's call. Captain Ellenberg answered the nation's call. And many of you may answer that call. But just remember that we're doing it because we want our future citizens to have a better life than the one that we enjoy today. That, I want to do something special. Nivea, will you please come forward? Now, they mentioned that Nivea's rank is private, E2. And I had the honor of wearing that rank twice because I got in trouble and got demoted. But As we talk about the Constitution of the United States, I wanted to present you one of my coins, and I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with challenge coins. So in the military, we have these challenge coins, and basically it ties into the culture of the units that we serve. And as a special operator, I actually put a lot of meaning into this. So the first thing that you see is the flag, which is that flag that is right there. And that is just symbolizing the roles and responsibilities that I have in this position of prominence. Then you see my signature on top of it. That is my commitment to that role and my promise to you that I will not let you down. Then you get to see that the coin is shaped like a World War II dog tag. That is symbolizing our nation's greatest generation and also the last time that the United States of America declared war on anyone. But that time can potentially come to an end soon as we enter an area of strategic power competition against Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and terrorist organizations. So we need to keep our watch. Then, with the theme of the Constitution, you have the preamble of the Constitution in the background. Then you have the entire joint team, all of the services that actually fight the wars. Then you have the rank of SEAC, which out of 2.4 million, only one person at a time gets to wear this rank. So we do not take that lightly. But the most important thing, and this goes to every single one of you in the crowd, is the expectation of the coin, which is the quote around the rim. And it says, amateurs train until they get it right, but professionals train until they cannot get it wrong. And that is nothing more than to say that you have to be dedicated, you have to be loyal, you have to be disciplined on anything that you do in life. And by giving you this, I am now passing this expectation to you. So from one generation to the next, thank you for answering the call to service. And it is my honor to present you this. Let's go ahead and give her a round of applause. And do not worry, everything that I said is in this little card, so you don't have to memorize it. But again, with much love and respect for our veterans and the fallen ones specifically, thank you so much for your attention today, and it is my honor to be here with you today.
It's now my honor to introduce one of our other brothers, Lieutenant General Richard Zillmer. He retired from active duty in January of 2011 after he served 35 years of commissioned service. He presently sits on the CNA Military Advisory Boards. He's an independent consultant. More importantly, when he left the school, he was also a past board member for the Hershey Trust Company, helping ensure that this school remained in perpetuity so that you all could come and be here just like we had the opportunity to come and be here. He has also served around the world, the UK, Germany, Japan. He's been a commanding officer of the 1st Battalion, 1st Marines, so there's another service, right? We have Army, we have Air Force, we have the Marines, we've got U.S. Public Health Service up here. We're missing the Navy, so I need somebody to please go ahead and enlist in the Navy. But he's also served in operations, many peacekeeping, Operation Desert Storm, Operation Iraqi Freedom. He's been in Washington, D.C. at Headquarters Marine Corps, and he's done presidential support duties at Camp David. He has been our representative and ambassador as a U.S. Marine to the Royal Marines in Poole, England. And his final assignment was Deputy Commandant for Manpower and Reserve Affairs at the Headquarters Marine Corps. He, like the SEAC, has a beautiful family, not just us, but also a personal family that he has built. And it's for all of them that he took the opportunity to serve the country. And he, too, has lost good friends and family. Sir?
Good morning, everyone. And let me provide a special welcome to SEAC. This gentleman who is sitting on the stage, this is a big deal for him to be here. He sits at the hand of our chairman of our Joint Chiefs of Staff. The decisions he's part of on a daily basis are absolutely strategic in nature, and we sleep better at night. We live in a secure country because of his service and people like him who make this possible. So, Siak, thanks for being up here, and thanks for what you do for our nation every single day. And to Kim, thank you, Kim, for the wonderful introduction, and thanks for being part of this, Mr. Kinney. But to all of you, welcome, good morning. It's great to have you here, and to all of our teachers, administrators, our house parents that are here, and our alumni who are scattered throughout the audience. Thank you for being here today. And Kim, you said you graduated a long, long time ago in 1988. So I'm wondering where that puts me. I graduated in 1970. Some of you may recall that the earth was still cooling at that point, but it's a pleasure to be back with you, and it's a pleasure to be with you today on such an important day. What I would like to do today is introduce you to one of our fellow alumni. This is the story of Gerald Ayers, class of 1957. Jerry's father died when he was 3 years old. His mother was left with 5 children. 2 are twins, just a couple months old. Jerry enrolled in the Hershey Industrial School on August the 8th, 1949, in the 5th grade, and he lived in Student Home Habana before going to Farmhouse Sunnybank in the 6th grade. He worked in the kitchen, helping to prepare meals, and was active in many school activities. Jerry was on the football team. He played basketball and baseball. Jerry graduated in 1957 and attended the College of William and Mary. In 1959, he joined the United States Air Force and was commissioned as a second lieutenant serving as a navigator. Jerry was stationed in air bases in California, Missouri, and Guam. In 1960, he married his wife Judy, and they had 3 children, while Jerry rose in the ranks to the grade of major. Jerry was a member of the 16th Special Operations Squadron during the Vietnam War. The squadron flew AC-130 aircraft called Spectre, the squadron's call sign, and was stationed at Ubon, Royal Thai Air Force Base in Thailand. The Spectre crews flew combat missions in Southeast Asia, providing close air support to troops in contact with the enemy and providing convoy escort. The squadron supported Operation Eagle Pole, the evacuation from Phnom Penh, Operation Frequent Wind, the evacuations of Saigon, and they figured prominently in the rescue of the SS Mayaguez, a United States merchant ship that was seized by the enemy. On the night of 18 June 1972, an AC-130A Spectre plane launched on a night armed reconnaissance mission. The crew consisted of 15 men, including Major Gerald F. Ayers, sensor operator. According to witnesses in another aircraft and survivor debriefs, the AC-130 aircraft was hit by a surface-to-air missile. The AC-130 then broke up in flight and crashed. At least 3 men were known to thrown clear of the aircraft as it broke up and parachuted safely to the ground. Although the search and rescue efforts continued for 6 days, no trace of the rest of the crew was found. No ground search was possible due to the intense enemy presence in the region. When the formal search was terminated, the remaining 12 crewmen were declared MIA, or missing in action. In 1993, a joint team excavated the crash site. The U.S. government holds that the evidence recovered is sufficient proof that the 12 men died in the crash. The remains of Major Ayers were recovered in October 5th of 1993 and positively identified a year later. Major Gerald Francis Ayers was buried in Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery in San Antonio, Texas, 22 years after his death. Major Ayers is memorialized in the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., and the virtual wall that is online. One tribute comes from someone who knew Jerry, Marty Godfrey, Captain, United States Air Force. Marty says, I served with Jerry Ayers, who were both navigators, at the 44th Airlift Squadron at Travis Air Force Base in California from 1967 to 1969. Jerry was a real class act with a vibrant personality. He was the kind of guy that you like to hang around with because he always had an interesting and sometimes controversial comments. I was very sorry to learn of his giving the ultimate sacrifice. A number of years ago, through an alumnus, the Department of School History learned more details about Jerry's death. In June of 1972, David Hobgood was scheduled to be on the first of 4 flights of the mission. He and 3 others were going home the next day, so the schedule was changed around, and Jerry was on the flight that Dave should have been on. Hobgood shared that if I had flown the mission as planned, I would have taken off, and maybe 35 minutes later, we'd been in the Ashaw Valley, just what these guys did. And if I remember correctly, they got shot down by an SA-7, which is a handheld infrared rocket. They just couldn't get away from those, and so it would have been my airplane. Gerald Francis Ayers died 15 years after giving one of the readings like this at the Milton Hershey School Memorial Assembly in 1957. Jerry Ayers reminds us the price for our freedom is often very steep. And today we remember Jerry. He's not just a name on a wall. He was here with us. He's one of our brothers that Kim talked about. So remember Jerry and his family in your prayers. And now to honor our alumni who gave their lives for our freedom, Senior Nevaeh Heverling will present the Gold Star Roll Call. Nevaeh is currently a soldier in the Pennsylvania Army National Guard, as you learned earlier, as a field artillery firefinder radar operator. Her goal outside of her job is to break the mental health stigma that some vets struggle with. She wants everyone, regardless of their background, to feel safe and welcomed in their unit and their country. Nevaeh?
Before I get started, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone on stage. I am so honored to be up here, and this is a really big deal for me. And I'm going to go and call my recruiter after this, because I'm so excited. So this is the Gold Star roll call. Bruce F. Anello. Harold H. Aschenfelder. Gerald F. Ayers. Jack R. Bennett. Mark E. Blizzard. Warren M. Bolden. Robert E. Booth. James F. Brooks. Chester Craven, Jr. Richard L. Davis. William H. Dewald. Robert S. Eckert. Charles Samuel Engel. George J. Eslin, Jr. V. Benjamin Eshelman. Henry E. Flowers. Harry P. Foy. William M. Furman, Jr. William J. Gorell. Walter L. Goshorn. Donald F. Grady. Robert H. Gorell. Harry R. Hawk. John G. Herr. J. Wilmer Hershey. Calvin L. Horn. Asa T. Johnson, Charles E. Johnston, Philip H. Case, Joseph W. Carrico, Victor E. Coons, Ralph E. Lama, Robert F. Lawson, Charles H. Ludwig, John A. Luther, Richard C. Martin, David E. Mitchell, Eugene L. Maurer, Frank T. Murray, Thomas H. Parkinson, Daniel R. Phillips, Boyd E. Piper, E. Darlington Potticher, George D. Pottiger, Arthur Quillman, George S. Race, Paul E. Rhodes, Paul H. Reicherns, Raymond L. Seed, Robert M. Siders, Christian G. Sherman, Robert E. Shuttlesworth, Joseph C. Smith, John C. H. Tice, Clarence Willman, William H. Wolfe, Jr., Timothy Mark Reitmington. Thank you.
Good morning. Please be seated. As we work through dismissal, we ask that you depart in the same silent and respectful manner in which you entered the assembly. Your patience while we dismiss in a safe and orderly manner is appreciated. At this time, we invite Nevaeh and Catherine and all members of the stage who will be joining Mr. Ebert at the cemetery to exit through the porte cochere. All members of the senior class seated in the audience are invited to dismiss through the porte cochere.